struggle with a living story where we show an environment in an architectural way, and we had our work cut out for us because we'd had Armani's yacht, and we've had such upscale stuff. So we had actually talked about shooting a private plane, but for the purposes of a decor type living story. So then when this came up, I said, wait a minute, why don't we try to do it as a fashion story? One of the key things that when we were sourcing a photographer for this particular shoot for Sir, we wanted to make sure that it was somebody who could work well with groups, because some of the best photographers are amazing with one girl or one guy, but the minute you add 2, 3 people into it, we found it's hard to find somebody that can actually capture that well. With Mark, done a large group of people, and I was quite impressed that each person looks great in the shot, in a group shot, really well. We're seeing the shots already, and they're amazing. With the private jet story, it was all about security, and that limited us in a lot of ways because you couldn't set foot in a certain place, you couldn't look in a certain direction, we weren't allowed to shoot in a certain, it was all about details and security, which I think limited us a little, but I think it still worked out. It works really well for certain. We show that we travel in very different circles and that we're not pinpointing ourselves. You'd have this sort of rough, really organic, and then this super slick, high-end, crazy shoot. Completely different from a conceptual and a shooting point of view.
Yeah, guys, let's clap hands for them!
Colson is more of a big picture guy, where we're getting in a whole environment, almost like a film still in a way, and Mark's stuff is a little edgier, a little more modern. I think is a great juxtaposition for the book. So when you turn from one thing and then you immediately just blown away by something so organic and then something so technical.
The team was home from India, but there was no time to rest.
It was coming back that was brutal, because coming back and then the next day I had to make sure all the clothes were returned because I had had them for so long. So it was going straight into working, and then the jet lag was pretty brutal.
Bob and Abel set to work prepping the shots we brought home with us.
We really had to work a lot on the images. The actual production of the photography and the retouching and the post-production, we all made it work.
Meanwhile, Michael had his hands full organizing a party for Philippe Starck, the world-renowned designer. Starck was in town to promote You, his new company for modern design and living. Starck's accomplishments are too numerous to mention. He's designed things both large and small, from world-class hotels to toothbrushes and everything in between. I finally got my chance to sit down with this fascinating man for our Big Sur cover story.
You're so busy with what's going on now, I don't even know how you have time to think up, where you're going.
You can make a lot of things if you know why, if you know the goal, and if you know the big story. When I design a toothbrush, a boat, a plane, a hydrogen car, I don't care. I said just what will be the result, how I can deserve to exist by serving my family, my friends, my tribe, my cultural community. I just try to help my friend to have a better life, and that's all. In fashion, when you change your skirt every 3 months, if you make a mistake, you can put that in the garbage. But when you buy an apartment, if you make a mistake, you cannot put that in the garbage. People must build their own egg, their own home, their own life, but I can help to avoid big mistake.
As I was wrapping up my interview, Michael was wrapping up the last details for Philippe's party.
You've got, how many hours do you have now? An hour. You have an hour. So tell us about the space.
We're trying to create a little fantasy European-style park where you can play croquet in this little area, which is all these topiary hedges. Over here there are some chess tables and park benches. There's a nice central bar here. Very typical communal table, Philippe Starck style.
The party that night came off without a hitch. The lush surroundings were such a contrast with India that we gained a newfound appreciation for how fortunate we are.
Design is absolutely useless, especially in a time like now. There is fight, challenge, the challenge to bring back civilization, the challenge of global warming. There is so many things to do. We cannot continue to speak about chairs and lamp and skirt and things like that. It's ridiculous. What we shall produce will be more radical in politics, more radical in ecology, more radical in this vision like that. And perhaps, I hope, my daughter in 20 years will come back because we have worked well in a civilized civilization, and perhaps she will come back to speak about how the pink is beautiful with the grey.
With everything taken care of, Michael and I met one more time to look over our latest issue of Sir before we shipped.
Look at this, beautiful.
Yeah, no, the India stuff really turned out well. That's just great, you know, to have an elephant in the middle of the magazine. You can't lose.
And we took
The chain off. I know, but I thought, you know, the
Yeah, we
tusk
should
was-
have.
Yeah, we
we
could have
probably should
elongated
have.
it.
Yeah.
I love the juxtaposition, though. This story, you know, it was just so like earthy and organic, and that high-tech jet set story.
With the layouts done, we'd come to the end of our journey. We had images for not one, but 2 magazines, Sir and FQ. But even more than that, the trip for us was a spiritual journey we'll never forget.
It was incredible, and I've never experienced anything quite like India. The people, and the people were so happy, and they just seemed so at peace with themselves, and there's this kind of tolerance and acceptance and gratitude that you feel that they have that's just so inherent. So you sort of come away thinking, boy, you know, if they manage to find that kind of inner peace, you know, in their lives, you know, why can't I?
It's made me redouble my efforts as I came back and look at how I can make a better contribution. And that isn't necessarily just lamenting the fact, but actually putting my money where my mouth is and writing a check. And I've been sending money to a group of people at Simode, and that's a little thing that I can do. It's not going to change the world, but it sure as hell will change that family as farmers. I don't know what the fuck is doing right now.
After we finish one shot with the elephant, we send them back to Jaipur.
And then we're going to sell rides on them all around the town.
Gorgeous, it's beautiful, absolutely stunning.
Cover stories.